your assumptions. I think you hit the nail on the head in the introduction. You kind of stole my content, but I'd say the guy who founded Xerox PARC, the Palo Alto Research Center that came up with a lot of the technology that we use today, actually said technology is anything that was invented after you were born, which means for the next generation of learners, the internet, mobile phones, these are not even considered technology any more than we consider lights and running water technology today. This is just a part of life. And they've grown up with this, and this has set every expectation they have. And unfortunately for them, I have a lot of slides on this in my normal prezo, but I won't bring them out here. But unfortunately for them, they have experienced this amazing innovation in technology, the way they consume media in their lives as consumers, the way they think about video games, the way they think of content, the way they think of blogs, the internet, things like the Kindle. It dramatically altered the way they perceive content, media, learning. And yet when we go to schools, you say sometimes they're 10 years behind. I've seen a lot that still have chalkboards that were invented in the 1800s, maybe before. And so we are in many ways very far behind the expectations that our users bring to the educational context. And because of that, we're losing engagement with our students. They're not as interested in many times as the content as they could be if we engage them where they want to be engaged. And we're not meeting the expectations they have of what they want to get out of that learning environment. And I think key among those are the experience of media, the experience of mobility, and the ability to involve community and kind of be interactive with their content. They don't like to be passive consumers today. They want to be able to interact. They want to blog with comments. They want to be able to share what they like easily and to communicate and build community around areas and topics of interest. And those are things that are enabled in a lot of parts of their world, and it's difficult for us in the educational arena, and they're what's going to drive the requirements in the education arena as those students become the dominant force behind what drives our educational needs. And I think there's just no way around it. This is what students are going to demand of us one way or another.
Laura, how about you? What's your perspective on why students and the industry need to move this way?
Well, I will also comment, sort of follow up on your comments about technology and sort of, the book is actually technology. It was invented, it was invented by Gutenberg, and it's paper and it's glue and it's binding, right? That's technology that delivers the author's words to the reader. So really, that's an analog version of a book, and all Kindle is for us is a digital version of the exact same experience. We didn't want it to be Kindle to actually be about the technology. We wanted it to be sort of fade away so that you were in the author's world and you weren't sort of thinking about anything beeping at you or glaring at you or sort of being a nuisance. So we really focused on making sure that the author's words delivered through a new kind of technology was really was our goal with Kindle, which is kind of interesting, I think, in a different way. And I would also say that for us, the interactivity is also important. So being able to search across your books, being able to annotate and to highlight and to share those notes with others, being able to have your library at your fingertips no matter where you are, thousands of books available to you to download wirelessly wherever you are. Those things are part of that community experience. I mean, how often are you somewhere where you're talking about a book with someone, but you don't have the book with you, and you want to be able to share that with someone? And whether you're reading it on an application, on your Kindle application on your iPhone, or you're reading on your Kindle, being able to bring authors' content closer to people when they're thinking and talking about books, we think is great for book sales, obviously, which is why Amazon's interested in it. We also think it's great for the larger community.
How about you, Michael? Your perspective might be a little bit different because you work with a whole bunch of different types of platforms.
Well, and to augment my biography just a little bit, I originally started as a K-12 teacher. So I moved from K-12 and unusually up to university. So I profess, but I also now build software. But in terms of why the timing is yesterday, the students had already moved. So I've been at RIT now, I'm in my 12th year. And I literally watched it live. So for example, there's a student of mine 3 years ago that would fact check my lectures live during my lecture. So I'd be going through and thinking, you just said that about color theory. But it was true. And he goes, well, actually, Wikipedia agrees. Yeah, we started this very live dialogue, and the shift had been significant. They're of a generation where as Jeff had said, they've known these technologies the entire time. They introduce me to technology daily. So I'm on ahead of the curve, I think, and then a wild card will come in. And one student from someplace I didn't know even existed said, I have this. Where did you get it? Well, I got it from China. Whatever. So we had this ongoing shift on that side. But then it shifted a lot in terms of educational style. If you look at the traditional kind of podium days, the teacher's the authority, the children are well behaved. And I taught inner city too. When you start to shift that into the modern classroom, and the department I'm part of it has had radical changes just due to retirement. And the old guard has changed out. And the new guard is represented largely by me, at least in terms of I'm now the third most senior person in my department by number of years served. That gives you a little sense of the shift. But the idea of I'm the authority and you will listen and then we'll have that discussion and here's your book and you will read this if they actually read a full book anymore. What you actually have now is a very segmented, very participatory kind of a dialogue. It can't be about me telling you, it's about us learning together. And that is a fundamental shift from the paradigm we had before. The current technologies enable it in many ways that we're going to get to as this discussion starts to unfold. But that's definitely, I think, where the platform of learning has already shifted.
So if that has already all changed, let's talk about some of the possible platforms that are out there, starting with the platforms that you folks may represent, but then also talking about some additional ones as well. And since we just happen to have Kindles here, let's start with you, Laura.
Sure. So I must say this is not the high definition screen that we're used to. So I'm going to hold up so you can just see the difference. This is the new Kindle DX, which just started shipping on Wednesday. You can sort of see it as relative size compared to Kindle 2. So you can see the screen is actually about 2.5 times larger than the sort of traditional Kindle, I guess. So, what the larger screen, because it's been out for a year and a half now, what the larger screen is really well suited for, as you can imagine, are textbooks and highly formatted. Right, so this is actually a textbook from Pearson, and this is really terrible focus. I promise it's very crisp and clean and very easy to read. But yeah, it's it's got a beautiful screen. And one of the reasons, if for those who don't, I'll sort of give you 3 seconds or probably a minute. The background of Kindle, this is actually an e-ink screen. So I like to think of it, it's like an Etch-a-Sketch in that it's not backlit. So what this does is the actual particles come to the surface of the glass. So you can read it under bright, bright sunlight. So this is under bright spotlights and it doesn't fade away. So it's really easy on your eyes. It's also great for battery life. So you can read on this literally for hours, days at a time and never have to recharge the battery. If you have wireless off, this is a wireless device, so it works anywhere your mobile phone works. So you can download and buy and manage your library anywhere your cell phone works. You don't need a connection. There are no wireless